there, my name is Megan and welcome to my channel, or welcome back. Today I'm actually going to be doing a little bit of a different video. So I wanted to curate a classics TBR for myself. So I don't think that I read one single classic last year. I might have read one, and I really do enjoy classic books. I just have been struggling to figure out what I want to read. And I actually own a lot of them. A lot of them I have been gifted over the years from family, anthologies from my husband. And then I also have picked up a whole bunch of them used throughout the years for like $1 or 50 cents at thrift stores and things like that. So originally my plan was to find like a list of the greatest 100 classics and read those. But I realized that a lot of the books I don't own, and I don't want to buy any books. I want to try and read through the books that I actually have on my physical shelves. So what I was going to do is I was going to take two different lists. I found a 100 Greatest Classic list from Penguin, and then I have the PBS Great American Read list, which isn't all classics, but it does have a bunch on there. And I was just going to pull from those to create my own list of classics, 25, not 100, that I want to read over the next 3 years. And what I was going to do is if, for example, one of the books is Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen, which one of them is, and I've already read Pride and Prejudice, but I have other Jane Austen books that I own and haven't read, I'm just going to substitute that for another one. So at the end of this video, ideally, I should have 25 classic books that I want to read based on suggestions from these two lists. So I'm actually going to screencast my computer. I'm like in a really weird position right now. I'm sitting on the floor trying to figure this out, but I'm going to record my screen so we can look at the list together, and then you'll see which books I choose, etc. I really don't know what this final list is going to look like, so I'm actually like super excited, and I am going to start this TBR in May. I don't think I'm going to be reading one book per month, especially if it's like one of those classics that is really thick and dense, but I don't know. If I can get through this list in 3 years, then I'll be satisfied with that. So if you like this video, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and give this video a like, a thumbs up, just to throw a little bit of support my way. And let's go ahead and get on into the Classics TBR. Alrighty, so this is the PBS Great American Read, the 100 list of books to read. So let's get started. To Kill a Mockingbird, I have read. Outlander, I have read. Harry Potter, I've read. Pride and Prejudice, I've read. Okay, so here's an example. So we need to choose another book by Jane Austen. So I've always wanted to read Persuasion by Jane Austen. So I think I'm going to choose that. And I think also it was one of the last book that she published before her death. And also I think it's on the shorter end. So that'll help me get through it quicker. So first book I'm going to read is Persuasion. All right, let's keep going. Lord of the Rings, I've read. Gone with the Wind, I don't own. Charlotte's Web, obviously read. Little Women, read. Narnia. Okay, I actually have the entire Chronicles of Narnia, this exact book, but it wants me to read the entire series, and I'm really not ready to start a series right now. So I might hold off on this. I might do this in like 2025, just read through the whole Narnia series, but I just don't want to start a new series right now. So I'm going to hold off on this one. Jane Eyre, I've read. Anne of Green Gables, I have not read, but I do own. So we'll put that here. Oh, that's Penguin. Okay, Grapes of Wrath, I do not own. Tree Grows in Brooklyn, don't own. Book Thief, I actually had a copy and I got rid of it. Great Gatsby, I've read. The Help, I don't own. Tom Sawyer, don't own. 1984, I've read. Agatha Christie, I don't own any Agatha Christie books. Okay, Atlas Shrugged, I actually do own, and it's got water damage because I lent it to my mom and she spilled water on it. But that is a chunker, like that is a thick book, and I actually started reading it at one time, and I didn't get very far into it. I don't remember why, but I do want to read it. So that's a book that would take me definitely longer than a month to read, I feel like. I'll have to see if I can find the audiobook somewhere. All right, Wuthering Heights, I've read. Lonesome Dove, don't own. Ken Follett, Stephen King, don't own. Rebecca, I've read. I don't own any John Irving. The Color Purple, don't own. Alice in Wonderland, I've read. Great Expectations I have read, but the only two books I've read by Charles Dickens are A Christmas Carol and Great Expectations, so I need to read Oliver Twist or A Tale of Two Cities, which I have this anthology, and I think it's those 4 books that are in there. So I'm going to go with A Tale of Two Cities because I've always wanted to read it. All right, The Catcher in the Rye, I actually have not read and I do own, so we can add that one. Where the Red Fern Grows, I don't have. The Outsiders, one of my favorites, definitely read that. Da Vinci Code, read. Handmaid's Tale, read. Dune, read. Little Prince, don't own. I don't own any Jack London. The Clan of the Cave Bear, I've never heard of. All right, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, I do own. Excited for that one. Okay, The Hunger Games, read and own. Ooh, The Count of Monte Cristo. Oh gosh. I do own it, and I actually had started reading it at one time, and I stopped about halfway through. It is so dense. So this would be a book I would want to read probably over summer vacation when I have about 8 or 9 weeks off of school where I can really, because if not, it's going to take me forever to get through. So I'll add it on here, but I don't know when I'm going to read it. Joy Luck Club, don't own. Frankenstein, read and own. The Giver, currently reading it with my 7th graders. I've read it multiple times. However, I do want to read the rest of the series, but I don't think I'm going to include that on my Classics TBR, but I was thinking about continuing the series after I'm done reading it with my 7th graders in about a month. All right, Memoirs of a Geisha, don't own. Seen the movie though. Moby Dick, I do own and have not read. Catch-22 by Joseph Heller. Once again, I own and have not read, so I'll add that. All right, Game of Thrones, read. Foundation, DNF. War and Peace, don't own. Their Eyes Were Watching God, don't own. Jurassic Park, don't own. I do have Spear by him, but I feel like Jurassic Park is like the classic. None of his other books are considered like classics. The Godfather, don't own. 100 Years of Solitude, nope. Picture of Dorian Gray, I have read. The Notebook, don't own. The Shack, I've read. A Confederacy of Dunces, don't even know what that is. Hunt for Red October, have not read, but have seen the movie multiple times. Alrighty, Beloved, don't own. The Martian, read. Eye of the World, read. My cat is in my room with me, so if you hear him meowing, he's a very, very, very vocal cat. That's him. All right, I do not know who Herman Hesse is, so I don't own that. All right, Crime and Punishment, I do own, and I had started reading it at one time, and I'm talking about like years and years ago. It was probably in college, and I never finished it. So that's another chunker. So I'll add it on here. I don't know if I spelled that name right. Close enough. All right, The Sun Also Rises, I actually do own. A friend of my mother's gave it to me when I was a teenager, and I still have it, and it's a really old copy. By Hemingway. All right, so we are like almost halfway done with this TBR. I'm super excited for all these books. All right, I do not know what this book is. A Separate Piece. Oh gosh, I do own this. And from my understanding, it's a bit depressing. And the only reason I have it is because like my used bookstore used to have bins where people could come just put free like books in there that they wanted to donate, or books that like the bookstore wouldn't buy back and they wanted to get rid of them, so they just put them in these bins. And I found A Separate Piece in there one day, and of Mice and Men by Steinbeck. So I have both of those. I don't think I've ever read A Separate Piece. Not peach. That'd be funny. A separate peach. All right, it's by Knowles, right? Yeah. I just don't want to be depressed. All right, it's not a very long book, I believe. Yeah, I'm looking at it. It's not very long. All right, Don Quixote, don't own. Lovely Bones, I would never in my life read that. The Alchemist, I do own and have not read. So we'll add that on here. How do you spell his name? Coelho. All right, moving along. Invisible Man, I've read. By Ralph Ellison. Wait a minute. No, I read the one by H.G. Wells, The Invisible Man. I've not read this one. I don't own it. Hatchet, I have not read, nor do I own. Twilight, read, obviously. Gulliver's Travels by Jonathan Swift. I do have this one. I have like a really beat up copy I found at a thrift store. So I'll add this one. By Jonathan Swift. Ready Player One, I've read. Left Behind, I've read. Never read anything by Gillian Flynn or Dean Koontz. Pilgrim's Progress, don't own. James Patterson, I've never read anything by James Patterson. Things Fall Apart, don't own. Heart of Darkness, I do own. All right, Gilead, don't know what that is. Flowers in the Attic, read that, unfortunately. 50 Shades of Grey, just why? DNF that, good God. Kurt Vonnegut, no, don't own anything by him. All right, just looking for anything else. The rest of these books I don't even recognize. So I don't own any of these and have not read any of them. Okay, so from the PBS Great American Read, we were able to get 16 books roughly. I think the only one I substituted was Jane Austen and Dickens, but the rest of them I think were from that list, so that's exciting. Okay, we need just a couple more, so let's go to the Penguin 100 must-read classics. All right, To Kill a Mockingbird. Oh, Pride and Prejudice. Told you my cat was in here. To Kill a Mockingbird, The Great Gatsby, I've read. 100 Years of Solitude. In Cold Blood, don't own it, haven't read it. Wild Sargasso Sea. Brave New World, have it and read it. I Capture the Castle, I don't own. Jane Eyre, I've read. Crime and Punishment, that's already on there. Secret History by Donna Tartt, don't own it and have not read it. The Call of the Wild. The Chrysalis. Do not own that. Persuasion. Oh, there's Persuasion. Moby Dick. The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Okay, so let's go ahead and add C.S. Lewis on here. I'm going to put it, because I do want to read it. I just don't want to read it this year. All right, To the Lighthouse by Virginia Woolf. I actually do have that and have not read it, so we can add that. Alrighty, The Death of Heart. Test of the Dubervilles by Thomas Hardy. I do own that and have not read it. Forgive me if I'm not spelling some of this stuff right. All right, Frankenstein, read. The Master and the Margarita. Don't even know what that is. The Go-Between, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. I read that. It was horrible, in my opinion. 1984, one of my favorites. Buddenbrooks, don't know what that is. The Grapes of Wrath, I don't own it. Beloved, don't own it. The Code of Woosters, don't own it. Dracula. I've actually read Dracula, but I've been itching to read Dracula again, so I might actually put that on this list if I am short. Sorry, I'm sitting on the floor and this is very uncomfortable. All right, Lord of the Rings, The Adventures of Huck Finn. One of these I tried to read. I can't remember if it was Huck Finn or Tuck Sawyer, and yeah, it was horrible. I DNF'd it. Great Expectations, Catch-22, The Age of Innocence. I do have this. It was my mother's by Edith Wharton, and I haven't read it. Things Fall Apart, don't own. Middlemarch, Midnight Children, The Iliad. I can't get through the Iliad or the Odyssey. I'm not reading it. Vanity Fair, I don't own. Brideshead Revisited, I don't know some of these. The Catcher in the Rye is on there. I've read Alice, The Mill and the Floss, don't own it. Some of these I don't own. Les Mis, never going to read it. Don't own it. The Outsiders, The Count of Monte Cristo. Okay, so hopefully I can get some more books, or I'm just going to have to make up some stuff on my own. I don't own any of these. I've read The Secret Garden. Tale of Two Cities is on there. Anna Karenina, I don't own. Atlas Shrugged again, that's on there. The Time Machine I've read. Well, we might have to kind of like add some of our own. Sorry, I'm just scrolling through these quickly to see if there's anything that I own that might be on here that I have not read. I don't want to read like multiple Charles Dickens or multiple Jane Austens. Okay, that's it. Alrighty. Oh no, it's not. Oh, Peter Pan. Okay, I have not read Peter Pan. I started it and never finished it. All right, let me see. So I actually have a book by W. Somerset Maugham, The Painted Veil. So I'll add that on here. Like I'll substitute this book for that one because I do have that. Don't know how to spell her name. Alrighty, so I have 3 more spots that I need to fill. So I think I'm just going to add in books that I want to read. So off the top of my head, I think I'm going to go with 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea by Jules Verne. Alrighty, and then there's a couple ones I've also wanted to read. The Island of Dr. Moreau. Have it right here. By H.G. Wells. And then the last one. So I'm trying to choose between Sir Gawain and the Green Knight or the third Sherlock Holmes book, which I don't even know what the third Sherlock Holmes book is. I'll have to look up the title. But I've read A Study in Scarlet and The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, and I want to continue reading the series. So I think I'm gonna choose that. So I'll have to look up the title of it, but third Sherlock Holmes book. I'll find out what the title is. Okay, you guys, so that is it for my Classics TBR. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Oh wait, no, we need one more. We need one more. So I can do Sir Gawain and the Green Knight. Okay. And then the copy I have is translated by Tolkien. I don't know who originally wrote it or if the author's name is known. All right, so here is my list of 25 classics that I want to read, hopefully over the next 3 years, because there's no possible way. I mean, I could get this done in a year if all I read was classics, but that's not really enjoyable for me. So we have Persuasion by Jane Austen, Anne of Green Gables by Ellen Montgomery, Atlas Shrugged by Ayn Rand, A Tale of Two Cities by Charles Dickens, The Catcher in the Rye by J.D. Salinger, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy by Douglas Adams, Count of Monte Cristo by Alexander Dumas, Moby Dick by Herman Melville, Catch-22 by, I think it's Joseph Heller, Crime and Punishment by Fyodor Dostoevsky, The Sun Also Rises by Ernest Hemingway, A Separate Peace by, I think it's John Knowles, The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho, Gulliver's Travels by Jonathan Swift, Heart of Darkness by Joseph Conrad, Chronicles of Narnia by C.S. Lewis, To the Lighthouse by Virginia Woolf, Test of the Duperbills by Thomas Hardy, The Age of Innocence by Edith Wharton, Peter Pan by J.M. Barrie, The Painted Veil by M. Somerset Maugham, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea by Jules Verne, The Island of Dr. Moreau by H.G. Wells, the third Sherlock Holmes book, which for the life of me, oh, Conan Doyle. Isn't it Arthur Conan Doyle wrote Sherlock Holmes? I'm having trouble remembering. I think it's Arthur Conan Doyle. And Sir Gawain and the Green Knight, translated by Tolkien. So that is it, you guys. That is it for my Classics TBR that I'm going to be starting in May with Persuasion by Jane Austen. You guys will have to let me know in the comments which of these books you've read, if you think that I should maybe prioritize some over the other, because I'm pretty much going to try and go in this exact order. I have no reason not to. But that is it. Thank you so much, guys, for joining me as I curated this Classics TBR, and I will see you all in another video soon. Goodbye.